Hello and welcome to Gardening at 58 North. In this video I'd like to give you guys an update on my rose plant here. As you can see, it's doing really well at the moment. This is quite amazing really, because it's actually the 10th of November today. So normally you wouldn't expect your roses to be growing this well or this large at this time of year, but this one's in quite a sheltered position, and I also keep it well fed, so you can see it's been growing really well. This is kept on my balcony. My balcony is quite a sunny position. It's southeast facing, so it gets the sunlight in the morning and a little bit of midday as well. But it's about 2 or 3 meters above ground level, so it doesn't get the coldest frosts, and also it's next to a lot of concrete because it's a concrete block of flats. So that's just kept the frost off it, I think. We have had about -2 for a few nights in a row here in Edinburgh, but for whatever reason the frost hasn't damaged this yet. I think it's just about stayed above freezing on my balcony. As you can see, it's done really well. This year it's done a lot better than last year. Last year I had problems with black spot. I can't actually see a single piece of black spot this year. The only issue I have had is I've actually had leaf cutter bees, but they haven't been much of an issue because the leaf cutter bees have only done a small bit of damage. And I'll show you where that is. It's just done here on some of the lower stems. So if you ever have any kind of very curved shaped cutting sections that have been taken out of your leaf, that's normally a leaf cutter bee. These aren't quite the typical ones. They're normally a lot more curved, so this could actually be might not be a leaf cutter bee, it could be a caterpillar, but certainly that bit there is very curved and the rest look quite rough. And I have seen caterpillars on my balcony, but I wouldn't normally expect a caterpillar to eat rose leaves, so I'm not 100% sure that is. As I say, it's either caterpillars or it's leaf cutter bees. Leaf cutter bees do tend to leave a really neat semicircle. But as I say, it's unusual for caterpillars really to eat roses. But as you can see, it's done well. So these have all grown from where I cut it previously when I deadheaded the plant. So this lower rose here, which is probably just about to go over, you can see it's quite a pale colour and it's completely open. This one here is just kind of starting to open. The other two are also quite well advanced. So this one on the right hand side is coming from quite a low stem. This had a small rose earlier in the year, deadheaded that and cut it back quite hard, and as you can see it's shooting up all this healthy new growth and produced another rose. This one here, this stem actually was very vigorous and it sprouted 2 or 3 roses on a single stem. I think it might be more like 5. I'll see if I can find a photo to put up for you of how many roses it had on the single stem. And I cut that very hard because it was a vigorous shoot, and what that did is it shot up a load of shoots from this stem, this bud, and one from there, and those have all grown up, and most of them have got roses on them. This one here, which is lower down, the tip kind of died off, so that hasn't grown. That's probably because the time of year is getting quite cold now. As you can see, has absolutely no intention of dying back yet. Still in full bloom. Leaves are still really glossy. There is a little bit of yellowing at the bottom, but that's more to do with it being the older leaves and maybe a possible slight lack of nitrogen, and also it's quite shaded down there. Doesn't seem to think it's autumn even though it is, but I'm sure it's going to be dropping its leaves pretty soon, as it really is getting quite frosty now and very dark. But it's always nice to have it flowering this late in the year. Nice to have flowers that are brightening up the balcony, especially as most of the other plants are starting to die back now, so it's a nice little splash of colour. But I'll be waiting for these. I'll deadhead them, but I won't deadhead them quite as hard as I do normally. Normally when I deadhead a rose, I go down 2 or 3 leaf nodes and cut it, and that encourages more growth. This time I'll cut it off just below the flower. That way it won't encourage any more growth, because I want this to not grow anymore and actually go into dormancy. So I'll deadhead it, just cutting behind the roses. Wait until the leaves drop, and then I'll do one last video of me doing a hard prune ready for spring. So I think that's it for this video. As I say, I'll give you guys an update on this rose in a few months' time, when all the leaves have fallen off and it's gone completely dormant. Then I can give it a good hard prune, and that hard prune will encourage it to put on lots of vigorous growth and have another great flowering season next year. So I've been really happy with this rose this year. I think the first flowers were May, June, and it's had a few flushes since then, and even now in November it's having a good display of roses. So as again, this is the Arthur Bell Floribunda rose, probably one of my favourite roses, just because it has such amazing scent. Never seems to have any major problems with black spot or other fungal diseases. And also, as it's a Floribunda rose, it does flower on and off throughout the whole summer. as you can see, even in November.